size body fat.
If your preference for...
It depends on how much muscle they have. No, I'm serious. Like, cause like a person, like a girl who's like got a little bit more muscle at 25% is gonna look better than a girl who's 15% with very little muscle mass.
They both have the same muscle mass.
Well, the same muscle mass. That's tough. That's tough.
Bax, what do you say? Weigh in here. 15 pounds underweight, 50 pounds overweight.
So, dude, we know that it's between 5 to 10. I just need you to give us a number.
I'd say 25.
Oh, yeah. So the girl being 50% body fat, incredibly lean, or a girl being 25% body fat, just slightly overweight.
With muscle though, she'll look like a tank. 25.
You mean she'll look like a muscle?
If she had the same muscle, if they had the same amount of muscle mass at 25% body fat, she's gonna look like more of a tank. Oh no, depends on what
I think
she
she'll
holds
just
it,
look
though.
more like not filled, but like tight. That's
I honestly, 15 might be a little much. I'd probably go 25.
Ah, my guy. He's with me.
15 is very lean.
That's what I'm saying. Like
That's a yeah. No, the more I think about like what 15 actually looks like,
yeah,
I'd probably say 25.
I think you should start sharing these with me.
What are they?
Up to that 20.
All right, should we get this over? Sorry, I didn't mean to waste your time. Let's do this.
I noticed when he was like, like 15, like 20. And I was like, what are you holding in your hands right now?
The sliding scale of
It's like you
body
look at
fat
a search
percentage.
history, it's 600-pound life, and I'm just like,
My porn search is specific 25% body fat category body fat percentage.
he like slowly creeps in like with like porn terms like like big, like they're beautiful, like, okay. Well, I recorded all of that. So.
Yeah, let's post that. Let's post that.
Let's post that.
All right, it's rolling, guys.
All right, start the intro.
All right, welcome to the EchoCast. We have both Nutrition Narc and Baxter here. What we are going to do is something. Well, we're going to change it up a little bit. So rather than me being your host, our host is actually going to be Blake here. So, Blake, what interesting topics do we have on the table?
So the reason why I suggested to be host is because Joel always asks the questions, and I feel like a lot of people want to know more about him, and obviously like more about Bax too. So I thought maybe I could ask them some questions to give you a bigger insight on Joel and Baxter. So first thing, I guess towards you, Joel, is like, tell us the process of having a job, starting a social media, quitting that job to pursue social media full time. That's kind of a long one.
Yeah.
You can go like short term. Like, did you have any like troubles like starting social media? Were you worried about like your family finding out and like making fun of you? What were you worried about like, the other teachers? Because you were a teacher, right? Mm-hmm. Were you worried about the other teachers making fun of you, or like you like?
Okay, that's a good question. By the time I really got into social media, I'd left teaching.
Okay.
So that I didn't really have to worry about too much. Teaching, I quit during COVID year, and I started up the social media side of things. But I was working actually with a buddy of mine. Long story there. We won't get into all that. That could take probably like 2 hours to discuss.
Wait, so you quit your job and then started your social media?
Yeah.
So you were unemployed when you started your social media?
I shouldn't say quit. It was more like I had until August, right?
Oh.
Because I was on a teacher's salary.
Yeah.
So it
But
was
yeah,
like,
I'm coming back. I'll be there August 1st. You can count me in on that.
Yeah,
And I'm not
we
showing up.
were just finishing out the time.
Yeah.
But my social media really became more of a thing after that August.
Got you.
But during that time, it was very small, just Instagram, Facebook, and then I was working with a buddy of mine for a little while because he told me that I could work part-time with him while I was growing things on the social media side.
What
Because
was
I'd already
the job. I could see you're straying away from this. There's probably a reason why you're not including this.
It was just a tree removal service.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Just
No, there's nothing wrong with the job. It was the whole situation that
okay,
happened
okay.
around it.
Gotcha.
We'll leave that for another day. But then eventually, like, things didn't pan out too well there. So I was actually doing DoorDash.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. And that was where, like, I kind of, like, kept things on the down low because, like, it wasn't that I just didn't want people asking questions because, like, I was doing fine. Like,
What do you mean you don't want who asking questions?
anybody.
Okay.
I didn't want anybody asking. Like, I mean, you have a degree.
Yeah.
You have like the
Yeah.
ability working in like the scientific field and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you're door dashing as like your secondary source of income, or I mean, at that point, primary source of income.
Yeah.
As I was building things up.
That reminds me of every single Uber I've been in. Do you guys ever get in Ubers and like, oh, this is just my side gig, bro. I'm a I'm a physicist on the daily. Like, are you really, bro?
I
Like,
had a DJ the other day.
Bro,
That was.
they
that
always
was
tell
an
me how
interesting
like
one.
successful they are. It's like, then why are you driving Uber? You know, it's
Yeah.
always that.
Well, that was the thing, and I didn't want people to be constantly asking me like, well, like how, like, are you actually like making money outside of this? Like, and I was like, because I knew it was something that could grow, and I knew it was, and I'm not gonna lie, I was multi-apping, like, which was like very frowned upon because like there would be times when you wouldn't get orders that you should and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
Just
I
taking
was
advantage of the system.
exactly,
You're
and
maxing out
honestly,
the
it wasn't
DoorDash.
bad. Like the area that I was in was actually pretty good. Like you could make decent money doing it.
Ohio.
It was specifically Dayton.
Oh, okay.
There was just like, for whatever reason, the restaurants and the houses were all super close together. So it was like, normally, if you were making a run for like $15 or whatever, you'd have to go a lot further than
Yeah.
what I'd have to go.
That makes sense.
So during certain times, like I'd be making like $60-$70 an hour.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But I was that's why like half of my videos in the beginning were all in my car.
No way.
Yeah, nobody knew. Like I was literally just like waiting for an order, and I'd just be making my TikToks during that
That's so
time.
funny.
But long story short, eventually I talked with Tori as the financials started to come up on the coaching end and the sponsorships end. I was like, all right, we need to make the decision. Like, I'm just done with this other stuff so that I can fully focus into this. And when I did that, similar to what you said, like obviously, like when you can put more time into it, your growth just explodes. But yeah, that's a very short explanation as to how I got into the social media world.
How was that with like your wife? Was she supportive? Was it like, I imagine that's a big deal. You know, you have not only you, but now you have a wife. Like it was just me.
I should have said earlier on that was one of my other main concerns. Like when I said like, I didn't want like anybody like talking about it, asking questions. I mean, like your in-laws and stuff like that. It's like okay, you have a scientific degree, you're door dashing and trying to be a fitness influencer.
Yeah, it's like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck with the lottery there too.
It's like, and they were nothing but nice to me about it. Now,
Yeah.
like, but it was always something where I was like worried that they thought that maybe I wasn't doing my duty as a husband.
Oh, that's a hard pill.
Then they never said that to me.
Yeah.
Like they were never I don't want to give off any wrong conclusions. They never said anything like that to me.
Just your own internal concerns.
Yeah,
You just-
exactly. But she was also a pharmacist, and so it was like okay, well, who's
tough
it-
comparison there. You
exactly.
Know? Yeah.
And so there was always there was always like a sense of inadequacy on my part, when like something that I kind of buried deep down for a little bit,
Yeah.
where I was like, where it was a hit to the pride because I was like, I didn't want people to be like, oh well, she's the one supporting him
Yeah.
while he follows his dream
Yeah.
or something, and I didn't want to be that person.
Yeah.
But that was she was very supportive, like honestly probably more supportive than I would have been in the same
Really?
situation. So
That's awesome, but it's a lot easier when you have like the support from like the people around you. And I'm sure it's very satisfying now to have it all work out. Sure it's satisfying for both of you to be like, oh look, you know, you believed in me, and now look.
well, I would ask a lot to make sure that it was something that she was legitimately okay with, and I mean she would tell me she was okay with it, and she still has maintained that, but there was always that like itching thing in the
Yeah.
back of your head, like, is she just saying this for
Yeah.
my sake? But no, she's been awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, we need to get Baxter in here. What was your rise like? Like building social media, did you always think you were gonna like make a living out of it? When did you realize you wanted to make like a living out of it, or was there a certain video?
Honestly, I was kind of in my situation. I kind of forced myself to make it work because when I started, I was coming out of school. I was in community college. My whole first year at community college was on online because it was during COVID. Like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
whole second half of high school, like senior year, and my whole first year of college was all online. I didn't do anything my first year of college. I was cheating on every single thing. Like I would be in class, have COD pulled up on the other on the other screen. I wasn't doing anything. So when everything transitioned back into like real life after that, like the
Yeah.
next year, I was like,
I can't.
Oh,
I
there's
can't
no
go-
way.
I
Like,
can't play COD and study math. And
It's not even that. Like I went into my Chem 2 class. They were talking about stuff I've never even heard of before. I was like, "There's no way."
Everyone was so ahead of you, academically, because you did nothing.
So what happened was my whole, and not really my mom, but my dad was really into me going into college and going the traditional route. He's just always been like that. So I was like, I kind of have to do this. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not doing this. so literally 2 weeks into my second year of community college, no one knew I did this. I started not going to my classes. I applied for every single job in my local vicinity. Yeah. I didn't even tell my girlfriend. I was like, because I was just embarrassed. I was kind of embarrassed because I was so I got a job in my local gym. I also got a job at Home Depot. And I was working 2 jobs, and this is around the time I started posting too. So I was really honing in. All the free time I had was going towards thinking of content ideas, stuff like that.
Wait, so when you said you stopped going to college, you didn't tell your girlfriend. Would you just leave the house when class time was?
I mean, when I did it, I didn't tell them. They figured out. They figured out pretty quickly. But yeah. So I was working 2 jobs for a while, until. When did I stop working both of them?
I remember
it was right around the time where I got into Echo when I wasn't working, because that was when not stable income, but enough where I didn't have to work those jobs anymore. I could fully focus on content. So that's really where I got into it. So
what was your family like when you told them you were dropping out of college, or you had already dropped out?
Yeah, I didn't tell anybody, but my dad and my dad was pretty disappointed when I did. But
did he have a talk with you?
Yeah.
Damn, that's tough.
And now?
Now he actually. I mean, I'm not gonna say he wasn't supportive, but he wasn't really believing in it for the longest time. Yeah. And now, it's kind of harder to deny the numbers now.
Yeah, so tax returns, bro.
Yeah. Go shop for shopping.
Go shop for shopping. Yo, Dad, what do your shop analytics look like?
Go code usage for code usage, anybody. But no.
There was a legitimate time period where for about 4 or 5 months, I just wanted to sit down and show numbers to my family, to my in-laws and stuff like that, because I knew deep down because Tori was still working as a pharmacist, so it was I knew they still thought that it was a hobby, and that I was just doing this weird thing where I wasn't actually making money, and I was fighting so hard because I had to bury that ego side of it down and be no, this is not something you have to do. You don't have to try and prove these numbers to them. And it was.
Were you talking about numbers, finances, or followers?
Finances, finances. Because it's a very important thing in, particularly, at least in my mind, in a lot of conservative Christian households, that the man provides.
Yeah, yeah.
And to anybody looking on the outside, it was, oh, you have Dr. Tori Twynham and Joel doing his weird fitness TikTok.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it was so tough for me to just not be I make money.
Yeah.
I
promise.
I'm not just play, because I would hear people say things playing. I'm I'm not playing. I'm working.
That's exactly what it was. I remember I was visiting my dad. This was actually with my girlfriend. My dad and my stepmom were just trying to everything to
get you back on the right track.
Yeah. They were trying to convince me. They're like, oh, what about if you get injured? Then your whole career is down the dumps. What if some miraculous thing happens and it throws you off track? I'm like, then I'll backtrack. I'll go to college.
Yeah, you can always go back to college.
It's this is opportunity I can't miss out on. I know I can make it. I knew I was gonna make it work. At that point when I was talking to them, I was like, there's no way. I'm not gonna make this work. I kind of had I'm not gonna lie, having the pressure of them on me kind of kept
push you harder.
Yeah, kind of kept me going.
I think that's going back to kind of what you said. I think a big sign of success for a lot of people is if their ability to eat shit for a while. You were saying you got add all these mental struggles and worried about what other people say about you or think about you. I think a lot of people, successful people, are fine with that and understand that, and they come out stronger, and they're fine with getting no views, or they're fine with their family talking shit about them. They just have to see it through to the other side.
Well,
And obviously, like with your side too, with like jumping out of college, you probably felt somewhat like a failure too,
Yeah.
huh?
Mhm.
Like, but
100%.
even though you did have like a plan and like you believed in yourself and everything, like you just have to like be able to eat shit for a while.
In the
until it starts
end,
working out.
you have to remind yourself that, like, as much as it might not seem like it in the moment, they are concerned for you.
Yeah,
Like
they
it's
just
like
want the best.
they want what's best for you.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's not even. It may feel like they're attacking you.
Yeah.
But they're more. It's more of a confusion
Yeah.
than anything else. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like why would you do this when you have the ability to be in just a stable, good
Yeah.
setting that will, in their minds, just be much safer.
I was lucky enough. I never really felt like attacked in my position or my situation. They were always just obviously like concerned. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when my parents are a little older, like 65 plus, so they're like, and my dad never went to college, and so my mom always saw like us kids, myself and my brother, being like, oh, you got to work not like your dad. You should not work with your body. My dad does construction. They're like, you should work with your mind instead of like your body, and they always wanted to provide better than like what my dad did. You know what I'm saying? So they wanted me to be like better. And it's just like a normal concern. Obviously, I was like quitting an engineering job. Like that's it's a big deal. So.
Yeah, no,
And I'm sure your parents were the same way. They're just
Yeah.
like they don't want to see you become like a bum or nothing. But
Yeah.
I guess this goes on to like my next question, being the host and all. Have you guys always been like entrepreneurial mindset? Like were you guys always like grinding, doing something from a kid's like or from a young age, or is this just now that you have like a following? Because I know myself, I've always been like anything to make money.
Yeah, so I was very big on, so like a lot of it was geared towards athletics for me in the start, where the plan was to be a professional athlete. And I know like everybody says that, but like there was like legitimate like steps that my family was taking and stuff like that. That's a
Soccer,
whole-
right?
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But as far as the minute I got out of college and I got a job, there was always things in the background that I was trying to get into.
Yeah.
So like I had a job where there was a lot of downtime, like sitting between, and I knew that there was more that I could be doing, and I was always looking for what that avenue was. So
Yeah.
I threw myself into a ton of different things. Like for a while, it was political. Like, and I was like, oh, maybe like I'll become like a political figure eventually. So like I got really into politics and like just like figuring and just learning more and more and digesting more and more. And then I
What
started.
was your plan to monetize that? Or just become like a senator and stuff? Or
Yeah, like, well, I mean, eventually,
Yeah.
but I was like looking at like campaigning and stuff like
That's
that, and like
crazy.
possibly like getting into helping people run their campaigns and
Oh,
like
yeah.
that was what I wanted, but I wanted to make sure I really knew the topic inside and out first.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I was always like studying and that stuff. But then I started to see like people doing things that I was super interested in, and I had I had a phase where I did want to be like on social media, but it was I wanted to be on social media for like comic books and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, like I got really into reviewing and stuff like that.
That's
and
how
I would like write articles and stuff like that on answering like different questions, and I was like, okay, maybe there's a space, but that's the thing. It was like one thing to the next. There was always like I could be doing more. I could be doing more.
So yeah, so what made you go from one to the next? Just because you didn't see much success with one?
It was mostly because I would be like, okay, there's probably another area that I'm slightly better at that I could see myself monetizing more easily.
I see.
And so like as I would go through and figure it out, be like I'd probe, and then so the one that I probed that I was the most serious about before fitness was the reason I got into teaching was one because I liked teaching, but the real main reason was I wanted to be the best coach. I was like eventually I could be like an NCAA coach.
Oh, I see. So, like, for sports.
Yeah, and I was like, and then I could like rise to the top in that area. So that was really what got me into the I guess you could say coaching aspect. But then once COVID hit and there was all this other stuff, it was then that I started to take the fitness aspect and realized there was more of a market outside of that. So like it was just probe. So yeah, the entrepreneurial mindset was always there.
Funny. How many followers did you end up getting on your Joel's Comic Review account?
I honestly don't remember.
You don't remember? Not
I
even
remember.
like 10K or less than that?
It was less.
Oh.
It was less for sure.
That's funny because I have like the same thing. I like did social media from like ever since I was a kid. I think I started uploading YouTube videos in 2006. So me like riding dirt bikes, then I'd be like messing around with my friends, or I'd do like different like Instagram pages. I don't know, shoes, like hoverboards, just like, I think I did one on like video games at one point, like tech deck, fingerboarding, literally like you're saying, everything. Probably never since I was a kid.
I think I did a pretty good job wiping my digital footprint.
Really? Oh, mine's still out there.
But I'm sure somebody will. I'm sure somebody could find it somewhere if they really looked.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I never really had the drive to do anything crazy. Like I never really had that entrepreneurial. That mindset.
You don't read
I'm
no books.
Joel. But yeah, I was always trying to get into like the more entertainment side. Like I would always try to stream and always try to like post because I was big. I was big into video games.
Yeah.
So I always try to stream, post like YouTube videos like that.
You posted gaming videos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something. So I always was into the entertainment side, but I never really had the drive to like push it forward until like I had that little push after like dropping out of college and stuff.
Yeah. It's so funny how we all failed out of other industries. Like that's so weird. You know what I mean?
I think everybody thinks that they're gonna that they have this idea of what they're gonna be, and that it's just gonna be that way for their entire life. It's like if you have the mindset to be able to adjust and shift, like you will be able to find something that you can be extremely successful in, as long as you're willing to throw yourself into that area. And it's like it's going to be a different area for different people. Yeah. So like if you told me 10 years ago that I would be in bodybuilding, I would have been like, that makes no sense.
That's exactly. I would have never in a million years thought I would be in this, like what I'm doing right now. Mm-hmm. Especially being like overweight my entire life. There's no way. Like I could have never foreseen this ever.
I used to make fun of people who would go to the gym when I was like 16 or something. Like, it's dumb. You know?
I guess it would have been a little bit past this, but maybe like 12 or 13 years ago. Like I would make fun of like bodybuilders and stuff like that. I was like, if you're not lifting to be more athletic, then why on earth would you even do it?
Yeah.
And there was and even up until maybe like 6 or 7-ish years ago, it was still very much like I wanted to coach athletes. Mm-hmm. I wanted to and that's why it always makes me laugh when there are people that will go after me and be like, oh, you're not functional. Like, I spent a lot of time in that realm before I got into bodybuilding. Yeah. And it's like I just chose this avenue out the other end. This doesn't mean that I have anything against athletic training, but it's like if you're gonna tell me, oh well, you lift and you're not functional because of it, I'm like, I know both of those areas, and you don't become non-functional because you lift in a bodybuilding style format.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say fitness didn't exist. What is the number 2 thing you're into? Like, wipe it off the planet. Like, bodybuilding doesn't exist. So what would you make your next page about? Like, what's second place? Movies. I would be a movie review guy. Gaming.
Yeah. 100%.
I think mine would be cars. I thought about making like a second car page. Mm-hmm. I think I should, but
I thought about turning my second account because it already has a lot of followers.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot you had 2.
Yeah, I thought about turning that, and I might still. I'm thinking about turning it into just like a reviewing page for like different entertainment and stuff like that. If that's something that people would take to.
Yeah.
Which obviously you'd have to see over time.
Yeah.
But I used to just dissect and analyze movies all the time.
What's your favorite movie?
Probably Gladiator.
Okay. I like, you ever seen Gone Girl?
Gone Girl?
It's like a psychological thriller.
No, I don't
like that
think
one a lot. You got a favorite movie?
The Grinch.
The Grinch, bro.
That's a solid choice. I'm assuming Jim Carrey version.
Yeah.
In Spirit. That's funny.
That's one of my in-laws' favorite movies, and they just quote it constantly.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Elf. Right.
Elf is great.
I watch Elf around my parents. My parents are like old. They have like, my mom doesn't understand the humor. She's like, this is the dumbest movie ever.
Oh yeah.
She literally said, she's like, what's funny about a grown man in tights? I'm like, Mom, that's literally the punchline. This is the joke. Like, how do you like? She's like, doesn't get it. I'm like,
have you watched Nacho Libre?
Yeah, definitely she is not.
Stretchy pants.
Definitely she is not. That was and my parents are hilarious.
In what sense? Just
like they're extremely white. Like anything above ketchup, my mom is like too spicy. She's like, that's too much.
That's fair.
You need to give us one last hard-hitting, some controversial question, or maybe not, but maybe not, but hard-hitting wrap-up.
Let me think. All right, if you had What do you think people are doing wrong that are trying to build like a following? You see kids do this, and you're like, you're wasting your time. Like, stop doing this, bro.
Copying other people's like every move. Like you, once again, you said this in a previous pod, but you have to be yourself. If you don't like
As long as
bring
you're an
something
interesting
different,
person.
as long as you bring something different to the table, you're never gonna be like picked out of the pot. You know.
Yeah.
There's no reason to. You're just another.
Yeah, you see
face.
people like
Just
posting their PR, their 245 bench PR.
No one's watching that. No one's watching that, bro. Unless you're bench pressing 1,500 pounds.
Yeah.
No one's ever done it before. No one cares, bro. It's the hard truth. You just gotta
Yeah. What about you? What do you see?
work with what you got.
What do you see people doing wrong trying to grow now?
So the main thing that I see, and I actually put a video out about this a little bit ago, is blaming the algorithm.
Oh, bro, don't get me started.
Shadow ban.
If you say you're shadow banned, immediately unfollow, block, bro. I can't. This is extreme cope, bro. I can't stand that.
I'm like, guess what? If people were interested, your content would be doing well.
That is my golden rule. I tell people, if you post good content, it will get seen. When's the last time you saw a Mr. Beast video flop? Everyone is like 100 million views. He never flops, bro.
And then
Nate arrived.
I literally gave people a challenge. I said, okay, then post me a creator that's been doing everything right for a long period of time, and they're not doing well. It's like, I'll tell you why their content's not doing well.
I remember seeing those videos.
Yeah, because I'm like, I can pick it out within like 10 seconds of going to their profile.
My favorite.
It's not hard.
When I see people, they're aspiring influencers. They go like this. They set up their phone. Okay, guys, they've got like 3 seconds of dead air. I'm like, you cut that out. No, like, I'm already scrolled past 7 videos by the time like you started talking, bro. You got to hit them like right away.
Right.
Give me something.
And the problem is thinking that good content is stuff that says good things.
Yeah.
It's like that's not good content. We're talking about entertainment here.
Yeah.
It's like, just because you're saying the right things, if you have a poor delivery, poor quality camera, like just don't have enough going on, enough jump cuts, like if you don't have things that are actually, we're not talking about good from a perspective of there's good information
About
or
viewer retention.
Exactly. That's what we mean by good. And that could be something that's actually not even great information.
Yeah.
It could just be really entertaining.
It could be counting calories. It keeps people going, bro. Like, okay.
For sure. But yeah, guys. Oh man, we could talk about so
That's what I'm saying.
many things.
I gotta tell him to make this an hour. We gotta.
we definitely have to make these segments longer. So thanks, Blake, for heading this up. And
Anytime, new host.
we'll be hitting you guys up again. Do you have an outro?
Have a great day, bozo.
I guess I need an outro. I'm the only one without an outro.